Hi, so thanks, Moriah, for doing this interview with us. We really appreciate your time. The first questions that I'd like to ask is just for you to tell me a little bit about yourself and your job and what kind of responsibilities you have.
I'm Moriah Jacobson. I'm currently a field application scientist at Taconic Biosciences. At Taconic, we have commercially available rodent models, a lot of genetically engineered mouse models. We also have customized services. I work remotely and I live in Rockville, Maryland. About myself, I consider myself a behavioral neuropharmacologist by training, but now my job requires me to be much more than that. My job's basically a combination of research, teaching, sales, and marketing. Originally from upstate New York near Ithaca, received my bachelor's in neuroscience from University of Rochester in 2010. I then stayed in Rochester for a gap year where I continued working in Dr. Suzanne Haber's lab. Then I went to Stony Brook University where I received my PhD in integrative neuroscience in 2017. After that, I then moved to Maryland to complete my postdoctoral studies in Dr. Erwin Lucky's lab at Uniformed Services University. Then in October of 2020, I left academia to become a field application scientist or an FAS with Taconic Biosciences. I'd say I was drawn to neuroscience because I grew up with chronic migraine. I was also really interested in mental disorders and basically what makes us who we are in general. So of course, that led all to the brain. When in academia, I primarily did study stress-related disorders using rats and mice. So all my research has been preclinical in that sense. For my PhD, I developed new models of stress, and I discovered new biomarkers for chronic stress and chemotherapy-induced cognitive impairment. And then during my postdoc, I studied the mechanisms underlying the beneficial effects of ketamine and kappa opioid receptors that are now in clinical development for lots of different disorders, depression, substance abuse, pain, anxiety. Now my job's away from the bench completely. Largely, I provide scientific and technical expertise pertaining to Taconic's models, so the mouse and rat models. And so basically, I just help researchers all day long. It's a lot of fun. I get to help them learn how to best apply these animal models in their research. I meet with customers and researchers across academia and industry almost daily. I work very closely with the sales team, but I'm not actually considered sales. Give a lot of seminars and presentations. Basically, I get to be involved in all sorts of research. So anything that would require an animal model, I get to be involved in, but I don't have to directly do the research. So I just provide more of that consultation. I still get to be involved in neuroscience research, just in addition to that, basically, again, every therapeutic area. So it's really exciting. I get to work on projects related to COVID-19, immunology, cancer, inflammatory bowel disease, anything you could think of. So it's a lot of fun. It's very challenging and rewarding and constantly learning. So that pretty much sums up me and my job.
Awesome. It sounds like you have a lot of responsibilities in your position, but what does a typical day look like for you?
Every day is different, which I know is the worst answer, but it's true. Some days are full of meetings, internal meetings and external meetings with customers. So sometimes those days, there's no time for anything else. But in between all those meetings, I have to prep for the customer calls. So making presentations, getting data together for the customers. If I know the meeting's going to be on a model that I know nothing about, that is going to happen and I'm going to have to learn about that model. Prepping for webinars. I also give a lot of training and presentations for internal colleagues. So a lot of meeting with the sales team, prospecting, figuring out how we can get new customers, new people using models, and just strategy in general. There's also writing. So in academia, you do a lot of writing, and that doesn't stop in this job either. I get to write for external magazines and even publications and blog posts for for the company. There's a lot of variety and there's always something to do. And there's also side projects. So I also am on the social media team putting together the posts that the Taconic pages put out. And the complicated thing is, I think it's with COVID-19, this role has changed a lot. It is remote, but it's a field application scientist. So I'm supposed to be in the field meeting with the customers face to face. So there was supposed to be a lot of travel. I'm in charge of supporting a territory, so kind of the states around Maryland that I live near. But now it's meeting everyone remotely and through Zoom like this. So I think in the future, it'll be some sort of hybrid role with travel and meeting remotely. But hard to say what things are going to be like moving forward.
Yeah, I can imagine that COVID really shifted a lot of what your job looks like from before to now.
Yep, certainly. But I never knew what it was like joining during COVID. So.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that you did a lot of research in academia. Now you kind of shifted into this position. And one thing I was wondering was, what was one challenge that you had to overcome in choosing your career path?
I think the biggest challenge I had to overcome was to see past my imposter syndrome. Everyone's got it. It doesn't go away. And to really see past that and also see past what I thought everyone wanted me to be. So a lot of soul searching and realizing what made me happy and what I wanted. So I knew that I loved research, but I didn't have to be the one exactly doing it. I enjoyed thinking about it more and helping and consulting other people more than I actually like doing it myself. So I didn't have a direct idea of what I wanted to do and where my career path was going, but I had a general idea. So I always tell people to just get out there and look, do some searching, get on LinkedIn, look at what different jobs are out there. Don't limit yourself to location. A lot of things are remote these days as well, just to get an idea of what's out there. And be mindful of how you feel when you see certain job posts. So I know that might sound silly, but really like what gets you excited and motivated when you're seeing a certain job. I think there's still a huge stigma in academia about alternative careers. And that's one of really the big challenges for me. And I think continues to be a challenge for a lot of trainees. We don't even know what else is out there. And there is a lot. I want everyone to know there is a lot out there. We are definitely needed and valued outside of academia.
That's great. Great information. I think, like, I know speaking for myself and a lot of my friends, we all kind of experience imposter syndrome to a certain extent. So that's really great advice for students moving forward. Kind of similar to that, is there one like crucial piece of advice that you have for students who are interested in pursuing neuroscience or neuropharmacology, or is it, yeah, what's your advice about that?
I would say don't give up. Don't be upset or worried if you're not certain what you want to do in your life or where you want your career to be as well. So don't give up and don't be upset about not being sure. Try new things. Don't be afraid of failure and don't be afraid to ask for help. So I spent a lot of time being afraid and afraid of trying new things and being afraid of asking for help. And you're not going to learn anything new and grow and figure out where you want to be if you don't just try and be willing to fail. So you set yourself up for failure also for all those things that you don't even try. So don't be afraid, go out there and get that firsthand experience that you need.
Great, thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we finish up our interview?
Nope, I say just go for it.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks.